Hey guys, so I just wanted to do this quick little video here showcasing how I did the doors on my Mercedes 600. So I just have this little button here to go ahead and parent the gate to the hollow, and then if I wire this up, there you go. As you can see, doors open and close when I press E no matter where they are. Also the hood, doors, and that's a bug. Alright, so let me just kind of show you how this was done. You need to. So, actually, let me first show you the specific little things that's going on here. So, as you can see, there's a gate here, a gate there. There's gates for every single panel here. And this one, I believe it's right there. Okay, that's okay, I guess. Alright, so I have these little gates right here, and they're all parented to a hollow, which is going to be in this E2. And in this E2, what I did is, before parenting these props to the gates, I made sure to get their positions perfect in accordance to these. So what I did is I used precision alignment to do that. So say if I wanted to position, so this one's for the, looks like that's for the hood. So that one's 50 forward and 13 up, as you can see, in relation to the base plate, of course. If I were to grab a P8 point right here, and if I were to follow those exact same, oops, 50 and 13 up, you would see that, now this may not look like the origin of the entity, but it should be. Yeah, see, if I place a point on it, that's origin. Mass center is a little higher, but if you look at the coordinate origin, that's it right there. And it's, as you can see, it's at the exact same point. So if I were to position it, well, it's slightly off because we're on a server, so there's always that little error. So what that does is whenever the this code will not work for everyone because this uses my specific positions, but I guess you could tailor it to your build if you really wanted to, though it would be much harder than just creating your own. This is for testing the opening and closing. So let me see here. So this right here, this is the parent right here, and this only happens when the button's pressed. And the reason why I do that is because if you were, for example, trying to work on your car, you wouldn't want these to be parented right away because look what happens when you reload the E2 and try, if you're working on this E2, look what happens. Because the hollows no longer exist, everything gets deleted, right? Oh, and also the roof works, but that's fine here. So that's just like the basic premise of how that works. I might release code that will work for everybody, or maybe I'll just make this like a universal version of this. This is still very incomplete. So let me see here. So yeah, so right here we're setting the position and the angle so that if so right now it's not parented. So what I can do is I can just move these out like that, right? And reload the two. As you can see, it goes right back to the center. Because right now it's not parented, right? What's the button I have for moving these out? I believe... Oh, I think I removed that. Yeah, I probably did. Yeah. So now let's get into this bit of code. So right here I have a timer that repeats. So when this is parented, it it triggers this click right here, and it goes through all of this code. So ignore this for now. Uh, so here I'm looping through the button array, and what the button array is it takes the inputs from this E2, which I'll get into in a bit. So what that does is it checks it loops through it, and then I'm grabbing the entity from. So basically, what select does is using the index or the key that you have here, it selectively says that this is 1, for example, that is 2, that is 3, that is 4, that is 5, that is 6. So that when you loop through it, you have buttons associated with each of these entities, so that you can actually loop through this without having to manually put these into an array, for example. Let's move on. Okay, so let's see here. I forget. It's been a while since I've gone through this. So this is checking for if the value is over 4. This is going to be for the doors, I believe, if I remember correctly. That should be for the doors. I should have probably labeled this. That would definitely help. Yeah, so 4 through 7, that's for the doors, I believe. And let's see here. And I believe I skipped one of them because that is for the roof. Yeah, so 4 is, so let's see here. Okay, so this one. So 3 is for the, 3 specifically is for this, the what's that, sunroof. Okay, so now what this is doing is that if the key, the value, the button that was pressed is greater than 4, it's gonna then take the current angle. So I'm storing all the angles in an array, and it's gonna set it equal to itself plus this. So now plus this little equation right here. So what this is doing right here, this ternary, is determining whether this value is on or off. And if it's on, it's going to return a 1. If it's off, it's going to return a -1. And then here I'm clamping the angle. So what this is basically saying is that if the value at this specific key is 1, okay, it's going to set the angle equal to itself in a positive direction, right? And if it's not, it's going to set the angle equal to itself going into a negative direction. So that's what that's saying right there. Now, to actually position these, I'm using two-world posang, which returns an array. And so what this does is you have a local vector, a local angle, a world vector, and a world angle. And what this is doing is it's giving you the positions in relation to this local vector and these localized vector and angle, and these world vector and angle. And here, I don't know if there's any way I can show you exactly what that's doing with props maybe. So if I have a cube here and a plate, so this cube's world position is some giant number that we don't know, right? But we can say that it's local, that this, okay, so that its local position to this over here is like what? Like maybe 30, right? 30x. So what that is doing right there is it's setting this locally to this, offset it. So it takes a local vector and it's setting it into this position local to this in the world. Now the reason why that is useful, and it also takes into account the angle. So if you have like a local angle of say 45, it will rotate it like this locally, right? But say if you have a world angle of 45, it will actually also move it, right? Because if you think about what locally and what local movement and what world movement is, this will be local, right? And this will be world movement in relation to this, because that is the whole point of using this right here. And so what you're doing is you're moving out the local position to here, right? Out all the way here, and you're manipulating the world angle, which will manipulate it this way, right? For the door opening, for example. I hope that was a good enough explanation as to how this works. And then obviously right here, I set the position and the angle of the hollows. And the same goes for this one. Now this one is for this is for what looks like to be both the... Yeah, so this is for both the trunk and the hood. This one little thing right here is for both. Once again, same code right here. It's negative here. And now for this, now sign basically checks the positivity of this, whether it's positive or negative, and it returns a 1 or 0. So it takes the angle and returns a 1 or 0. So this is very, very simple as to how this works. So these two, they don't have independent angles. They both open to the same exact angle. Oh, I didn't parent it, so you can't really see it right now. Now this right here, this is for the power sunroof, which I can demonstrate if I do this timer test. Let's say 0. So if I now reload this and go ahead and parent it, it should... Oh wait, no, you know what? This is not even wired up. This should hopefully work. I'm derping out here. Oopsie. Alright, let's set a delay on this. Am I just being a derp? So check every 100. So let's just set that to 100, I guess. It should be opening and closing. Oh, you know what? I know what it is. There you go. I gotta respawn this. It's because it was interpreting... I should probably put this in the persist. I already have a... I'm doing this for demonstration purposes. And now this should work. There you go. So as you can see, I have a power sunroof. Actually, that delay is way too short. You can't really see it extend all the way. Oh no, that's fine. As you can see, it moves along in a very perfect way. So now the logic for that, it's all in this one singular line right here, which I should have probably notated because I can't really remember. So looks like, so it's checking whether this is a 1 or a 0. So remember, this is on or off, and if it's on, it sets the, so it sets a Z to 33. Let's see here. Oh boy. 1 second. Oh, okay. So I know what this is. Okay, so I'm looking at this wrong. So if this is on, it then checks if the position's equal to 33, and if it is, this will be 1. If it's not, it'll be 0. Okay? So that's like a two-way check right there. And then here, oh boy. Once again, checks if the button is on or off, and if it's on, remember, it's taking the current position and you're subtracting this right here. You'll subtract 0.5 every single from the current state of it, right? So subtract 0.5, and then if it's off, it will, once again, it will check if the position is 3, and it will change that value to either negative or positive. Yeah, this is very. I coded this a very long time ago, so please excuse if I got anything wrong here. And this is just clamping the positions, and once again, setting the position. So now that I went over all that, time to go into this other code, the door opening logic. Now, what this does is it let's see here. I think these are for testing purposes. I don't actually need these. So I have this little function here, and what this does is it takes your array, your player position, so you're going to be your aim position, your plane, and your plane position, and it finds where they intersect using some math, okay? And I'm just getting all those right here. And I have different ones for all these because I have 4 different planes. I have one right here, one right here, one right here, and one right here. 4 different planes. Now, these, they initiate a check to see the player position, whether if it's on this side, this side, this side, or this side, right here. And so this, you have your side position and your forward position, and basically it returns which of these it should be. So say you're on the left. If you're on the left, it will return the left check. If you're on the right, it returns the right check, okay? If you're in the front, it returns the front check. If you're in the rear, it returns the rear check. So remember, this is a check to see if you're or sorry, not a check. It's like the position where you're looking. This is the check right here. So now I have a bunch of stuff here. Now I could probably clean this up. I could probably clean this up a little bit. I could put like a big old array with these positions in it and then loop through it just to make it look nicer. But you know what? This works, so I'll keep it for now. So what happens here is that in range, what it does is it checks if this right here. Oh, you know what? That's what the hollows are for. The hollows are for. Okay, so this is probably because I couldn't figure this out for the life of me. I was being a derp. So I was trying to use this right here for this, but I just couldn't figure out in my head. I'm just probably too dumb for it. So I decided to use a hollow instead. Just stop messing with my brain, right? So in relation to wait one second. Okay. So it checks if the local position of the forward position is within these bounds, okay? And if it is, it sets button 1 equal to itself, not equal to itself, alright? So if this is 0, then it's going to be 1. If it's 1, it's going to be 0, alright? And this is doing the exact same thing, but for it looks like the rear. So this is for the trunk, and these are for the doors. It's the exact same logic for the doors, except I didn't actually need to use a hollow because for the hood and the trunk, I have a slanted plane. For the sides, I have a straight plane, so I don't need any kind of fancy localization. And then, using all this, I input it into here. So that. And obviously, I removed the inputs so that you could have a demonstration purposes, so nothing will actually happen right now if I were to do it. Yeah, and that's about it for the doors. I might make a universal version of this in the future. I just thought I'd go over the math and such of how this specifically works. This is still an ongoing project. I still need to make a steering wheel, middle, shifter, maybe a radio, put some extra details, and of course some wheels. I'll keep you guys posted on this. So thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.